Welcome, everyone. All right. AJ, you got to get to the front. You're the star of the show here. You got to get right up front. And Ken Shore and I were laughing about this as a rigged election, and thank God it is. Welcome to our 2025 annual meeting. It's my pleasure to introduce and welcome Rabbi Erdheim and Rabbi Nichols to the Bema for an opening prayer.
God of all generations, we lift up our hearts to you, maker of heaven and earth, source of our strength, witness to our struggles and to our hope. In a time shadowed by fear and extremism, as anti-Semitism once again rears its head, we gather, firm in our resolve, united by faith, and strengthened by the bonds of community. We bring with us our fear, our anger, and our weariness, but we do not bring them alone. Together we turn from isolation and despair to embrace the light of one another's presence. For the courage that sustained us this past year, for the wisdom passed down through generations, for the resilience that lives in our bones, we give thanks. Thankful too for the sacred rhythm of Jewish life and Jewish joy, for Shabbat candles that soften even the hardest weeks, a chuppah held aloft by generations of blessing, a baby's name spoken into covenant and community, the bittersweet melodies of Yizkor holding memory and love, meals delivered and hands held in times of grief, voices that rise in prayer, in protest, and in song, carrying us through joy and through sorrow, rooted always in who we are and all that we hold sacred. For this, we give thanks.
We reaffirm our sacred work to build, to learn, to heal, to question, to resist, to dream. May we go from strength to strength, our vision clear, our purpose unwavering, guided by justice, compassion, and hope. Hine ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. How good it is, how essential that we are here together. In unison, we call upon your name and ask for your blessing on the work of our hands and our hearts. May all we do this year and beyond nurture lives that are connected in community, proud in identity, and meaningful in spirit and purpose. May our gathering tonight renew our strength, our courage, and our commitment to building a vibrant, inclusive Jewish future. And together we say, Amen. We invite forward Alan Kronovit.
I have to make sure I have everything in order. I got my tissues, I got my bottle of water. All right, good. I have one more prop. So at the beginning of every board meeting, we read our mission statement and our vision statement as a way to ground our work on the temple. So tonight I begin. Our mission is to cultivate connected, proud, and meaningful Jewish living that inspires change in our world. And our vision is a bold Jewish community of deep roots, sacred responsibility, and daring hope. Gratitude is one of the many important tenets of Judaism. So we also begin our board meetings with a practice called Hakarat HaTov, where we share what is good in our lives and what we have to be grateful for, similar to what we do on Friday night Shabbat services. I am grateful to all of you for joining us this evening at the annual meeting. We are TBE together, so being here this evening shows your commitment to our success as a temple community. Cantor, will you lead us in the Shekianu?
Baruch atah Adonai
my most fundamental identities. I credit my family and this community for instilling in me a sense of Jewish identity and pride. And the last 3 years has not only reinforced my Jewish identity, but it has strengthened my commitment to the deep roots of my Judaism. And as the deep roots of Judaism guide me this evening, I want to express my own sense of gratitude for the support that I receive from my family. I didn't make it very far. The partnership with the clergy, professional staff, board, and past presidents, and the trust of this congregation. The support of my family. As I'm sure the past presidents of the temple will attest, they, like I, could not have served as president without the enduring support of their spouse. For me, that is my Carrie. We have known each other for 43 years, and this September we'll be married 35. Our own deep roots. During all that time, she has encouraged me and has patience with me and has given me confidence to take on new challenges. For those of you that don't know Carrie, one of her many wonderful traits is that she is a change agent, impatient with the status quo. And in this time of change at Temple Bethel, she supported me, provided invaluable counsel, challenged me to think differently, and spent countless evenings home alone while I was working on behalf of the temple. But most importantly for me, she loves me, faults, which are many, and all. My gratitude for having Carrie in my life and as my partner is immeasurable. There's no way that I would be the person I am, nor I could have been president without her. Together, we built a Jewish home like the ones our parents built for us. We incorporated tradition while embracing modernity. And because of that, our children are building Jewish homes that they define as meaningful for themselves. Zoe, Connor, and Eli have also been incredibly supportive of me during the last 3 years. They have also helped me see things in a different way. And I want to share just a few snippets that occurred during my presidency that I will cherish forever. First, even though Eli lives in Los Angeles, he'd always ask what was going on in the temple and how I was doing. His interest demonstrated not only his support of me, which I greatly appreciate, but also that growing up at Temple Bethel left a positive impact on him. Second, I was able to celebrate the 50th anniversary of my bar mitzvah during my presidency. It served as a reminder of the hard work the B'nai students put in and gave me a greater appreciation for how our clergy meets the students where they are so that they and their families can have a meaningful, enriching Jewish experience. In its own right, it would have been special enough. But what made it truly memorable was that Connor and I shared the weekend as he celebrated his Anshe mitzvah. Connor, like all those who choose to be Jewish, highlight the importance of Temple Bethel being a welcoming place for those that are looking for a new spiritual home and community. Third was Zoe, serving on the Temple Strategic Planning Committee. As someone who grew up at Temple Bethel and is part of the future generation of Temple leadership, she brought with her insight and passion for our temple and the courage to share her voice. I'm incredibly proud of her as she ensured that the committee understood the needs of her generation and helped us create a framework to think about the future. Finally, last September, Almari joined the family. Carrie and I were filled with so much joy as we became grandparents. But it also took on additional meaning for me as president because Almari is joining her cousins Leora, Evie, Mayor, and Rowan as a fifth-generation member of Temple Bethel. Her birth reminded me of our sacred responsibility to ensure Temple Bethel is here for her and for generations to come. Partnership with the clergy, professional staff, board, and the past presidents. Leading a temple is different than leading other organizations. In other organizations, there's the board and the professional staff, namely the CEO or the executive director, that partner to lead the organization. In the case of the temple, the partnership is between the clergy, the professional staff, and the board. And I can say during the last 3 years, the temple leadership has been one of equals, never one of egos. There is a mutual respect in our roles, an openness of transparency and dialogue, and a recognition of our collective sacred responsibility on behalf of the congregation. And to say we have an incredible clergy team is an understatement. Rabbi Knight, Rabbi Nichols, Rabbi Erdheim, and Cantor Renitsky have created the most effective team of high-achieving individuals I've seen. They each bring incredible skills and sensibilities to the rabbinate and cantorate, strong intellects, passion for Judaism, a commitment to our congregation and to each other, and a willingness to share their true selves with us. However, with all their individual strengths, they work so well together that we are the beneficiaries of the sum total being greater than the individual parts. And we have an incredible professional staff, led by Jonathan Friedman, and their commitment to the temple is inspiring. They do the work that no one sees, but is the backbone of our well-run temple. I am so grateful for their contributions. I knew that ensuring that the clergy team and professional team remained together, guiding us spiritually and helping us build a strong Jewish community for many years to come, was extremely important to accomplish during my tenure. I'm happy to report we did accomplish that, with contract renewals for Rabbi Nichols, Rabbi Knight, Rabbi Nichols, Rabbi Erdheim, and Jonathan Friedman, and signing Cantor Renitsky to a multi-year contract. This continuity is the cornerstone of our future. The third partners in the success of the temple are the board of directors and the past presidents. After COVID, we re-engaged the temple's past presidents, which there are 22 living past presidents, whose leadership dates back and leadership and deep roots date back to the 1970s. We'd meet every month to share what's going on with the temple and the work of the board, and they shared their advice and counsel. I especially want to recognize Ben Benson, who led the board through COVID. It was a difficult time, and without his steady hand, we would have not had the foundation of board leadership that was so effective the last 3 years. As a reward, Ben now has the distinction of serving as the longest serving past president in the history of Temple Bethel. Ben, a record I hope is never broken. I am also so grateful to those that served on the board the last 3 years. They recognize that in order to be effective leaders of our congregation, they must be part of the congregation and not apart from it. This was a board that was willing to think differently. First and foremost, they recognized the work of the board required a different commitment. Not only a commitment to ensure the temple was operating well, but a recognition of our sacred responsibility to the congregation. And they embraced Jewish learning. One year, our first year together, we read Rabbi Jonathan Sachs' book on Jewish leadership. In another year, we read a book of a collection of 67 essays about the priorities of Jewish future, edited by David Hazoni. And our own Rabbi Anna Bonheim introduced the board to the Jewish Learning Collaborative, which is a one-on-one Havruta Jewish learning effort. It is an effort that helps Jewish leaders grow their personal Jewish journey, but make sure that there's the Jewish in Jewish leadership. This learning and work of the board benefited us as we made as we made decisions as a board. And I'm grateful for A.J. Seacrest as our next president. She brings passion, commitment, and caring, and an incredible energy to her leadership. As you'll hear shortly, she will be a great leader of the board and our temple, and I am excited to work with her as we move forward with Daring Hope. Our congregation and community. For me, an important part of being president is that I was your representative and an ambassador from the board. During COVID, I, like most of America, was watching Ted Lasso. And as I thought what it meant to be an ambassador, the Ted Lasso character, Roy Kent, influenced my thinking. The attribute that I took away was his presence on the field. And while I don't have a chant that people sing about me when I show up, this was his, modified a little bit, and it has been my mantra over the last 3 years. He's here, he's there, he's every effing where. Being present has brought great meaning to my term as president. It provided me an opportunity to better understand how Temple touches the lives of our congregants, the value we place on a Jewish community we have here at Temple Beth-El, and the importance of our relationship with our clergy. 3 years ago, when people heard I was going to be president, they said to me, "Congratulations and condolences." I didn't understand it then, and after 3 years, I still don't understand it. Serving as president of Temple Beth-El has been a fulfilling and meaningful experience for me. I am grateful to all of you for the connections we've made and want to thank you for the honor of serving as president.
On July 1st, I will begin my 9th year as senior rabbi of Temple Beth-El. Thank you. And when I arrived here in 2016, one of my sons was not yet walking, and the other was a wide-eyed preschooler at CJP. And we had no family in Charlotte, and now we have a bar mitzvah. The other is 9, going on 20, I think. And we have multiple first cousins, and soon more family will be joining us in Charlotte. And it feels like a classic Charlotte and Temple Beth-El story. I have a little less hair than I used to, and a lot more of it is gray. So looking back on these 9 years, I can't help but feel grateful for what I've gained. Gained a chosen family of incredible community, gained the most remarkable colleagues and professional team whose dedication inspires me and carries me forward every single day, and gained incredible mentors in the form of the lay leaders that I and that we have the privilege of working with. And that's what I want to focus on tonight, a deeper understanding of the sacred responsibility of synagogue leadership and what it really is, especially in Jewish life. Because here at Temple Beth-El, leadership isn't about titles, and it certainly isn't about a spotlight. It's about presence. It's about clarity, about showing up with heart, even when the road ahead is uncertain. Tonight, we begin, as we always should, with gratitude. And to Ben Benson, perhaps, as was said, our longest-serving immediate past president and one of the longest-serving board members in our 80-year history. If I have my math right, Ben, you've been on the board for 12 years, which is nearly 15% of our congregation's life. Congratulations. Your steady and unflinching leadership carried us through the most turbulent chapters in our history: financial crisis and global pandemic, uncertainty, transitions, and transitions again. And yet you remained calm, principled, and present. You reminded us that even in the chaos, we could act with integrity, with compassion and faith and humor. You taught us to have an architect's eye, to organize, plan, draw, and construct the future that we want. Your mentorship, your moral compass, and your friendship made a lasting difference. Thank you, Ben. And now I get to say thank you to Alan Cronovan. There is something sacred about the word we. We Jews love to say it, not just because it binds us to each other, but because it binds us to a sense of responsibility. I recently wrote about this in the Charlotte Jewish News, right? We stood at Sinai, we wandered the wilderness, we built, we dreamed, we returned. And Alan, your presidency has been a master class in sacred responsibility and we. You didn't stand above the leaders, staff, and clergy, you stood with us. You led not just with a vision, but with a steady soulfulness. You helped us remember who we are while guiding us towards who we might yet become. And tonight I want to offer leadership lessons that are grounded in our tradition that I think we have learned from you. Each of these lessons are lived through your presidency and have been shared with me by the members of your board, our past presidents, and the staff and clergy of Temple Beth-El. First, Hineni, presence over perfection. When God called to Abraham, he answered, Hineni, here I am, not I have the plan, not I know what to do, but simple, vulnerable declaration of presence. Abraham says Hineni 3 times in the story of the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, to God, to his son, and to the unknown. It is one thing to say Hineni when life is clear. It's another to say it when the path is painful, when your heart aches and you still show up. Alan, you said Hineni to this community again and again, not with all of the answers, but with your full self, present, listening, and steady. That's the kind of leadership that changes people, not perfection, but presence, and presence is everything. Leadership is also a sacred service. We live in a world that rewards spotlight and platform and applause, but Jewish leadership isn't about performance. When Moses is remembered at the end of the Torah, he is not called a king or a prophet. He is not even called Adonai or a servant of God. And Alan, you led as a servant. Not necessarily like Moses and with a staff, but as a servant. Not to be praised, but to be useful. Not to be right, but to do right. Your leadership wasn't about being the loudest voice. It was about making space for others to lead alongside you. 3, to lift others. I agree. I completely agree. Pirkei Avot teaches, bear the burden with your neighbors. Not for them, with them. And Alan, that's how you've led. You've lightened the load without diminishing responsibility. In fact, you have this ability to lighten the load and then also encourage more responsibility. You encourage the best in all of us without needing to be the hero. You reminded us that leadership is not about doing it all, it's about making sure that no one carries it alone. 4, you plant for the future, as we've heard and as we see in this room. True leadership is long-term work, the Lador Vador work, from generation to generation. It's planting seeds that you may never see bloom. It's about building systems and culture and relationships that last beyond your years and your term. And Alan, you've never just led for just today. You thought about tomorrow. In word and deed, you lived out Lador Vador, honoring what came before and strengthening what is now and preparing what is yet to be. And finally, head and heart leadership. You brought both head and heart. You gave space for feeling and space for thinking. You brought rigor and reflection. You reminded us that leadership isn't either or, it's both and. It's intellect guided by compassion. It's heart informed by wisdom. And you turned this role over with care. You studied it from all sides. And in doing so, you helped us to see what we might have missed. You showed us that sacred responsibility does not demand attention, it offers integrity. And so tonight, as we thank Alan, we also welcome AJ Seacrest as our next president. AJ already understands what sacred leadership requires. Service, not spotlight, insight, not impulse, conviction, not control. You lead by listening, and you build trust, and you always act with integrity. AJ, you step into a role that is not only about governance, though I want you to know, we know that governance is really important. Because governance helps us to do the soul work really well. but you inherit a mission that you make your own. You inherit a vision that you will make your own. Catherine Schultz, in her profound book that I've been reading, Lost and Found, writes that every deep love contains within it the eventual act of letting go. That is part of what leadership is, deep love and eventually letting go. It's not only about what you hold, it's about how you release. It's not only about what making decisions, it's about leaving room for what's next. And Scholes reminds us that the world is always both grief and wonder, memory and possibility. And so much of Jewish leadership is learning to live with the and. And that is a spiritual discipline in and of itself. It takes strength and courage, chazak ve'ematz, to teach, to lead, to serve. It takes strength and courage to say, I don't know, to ask better questions. It takes strength and courage to seek truth over comfort, to walk into the wind, to chart a new course, to trust that the process is there and to be part of that process. Leadership takes strength and courage, and it gives strength and courage too. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamechi mitzadeh gaver. Blessed are you who strengthens our steps. To Ben, to Alan, to AJ, and to every board member, to every committee chair and volunteer, to every Shalom Park partner, for everyone who makes this place and this community what it is, thank you for leading with heart. Thank you for leading with hope. And to all of us, if you've ever wondered whether you could lead, the answer is yes. Step in, speak up, walk with us, because the future of Jewish life is not something that we watch unfold, it's something that we create. This journey is all of ours, and we walk it together. Thank you, everyone.
Good evening, Temple Bethel family. It's wonderful to stand before you again this year at this annual meeting, and I'm grateful for the remarkable year we've had together. As we reflect on our successes and look forward with excitement, we ground ourselves firmly in our mission to cultivate connected, proud, meaningful Jewish living that inspires change in our world. I want to start tonight by sharing a few reflections on what our mission statement means to me and has meant to us in its first year. We live in a complicated and often overwhelming world, one where tragedy, hate, and conflict feel ever present. Our hearts are heavy tonight as we reflect on the recent violence in Washington, D.C. and Boulder, and the continuing pain of hostages still held in Gaza. At times, it feels like the fabric of society is unraveling, and yet, we are a people of hope, especially here in Charlotte's Jewish community, where we hold fast to an audacious belief of what's possible when we come together. Temple Bethel is one of those rare places that invites us to open our hearts. Here we connect not just through agreement on shared ideas, but through shared humanity. We celebrate life's joys, support each other in sorrow, hear the Torah, sing with longing and gratitude, and show up for one another, shoulder to shoulder, heart to heart, in this sanctuary and across the congregation. When we look at what we are accomplishing together, we see how the work of this congregation helps us to find our paths through life, living in ways that are rooted in what's most important. This is what we mean by connected Jewish living. One of the things I love most about Judaism is that it's not just something we believe, it's something we do. It's a practice rooted in mitzvot, calling us to act with intention and purpose. The Torah isn't just an ancient text, it's a guide for living a life of meaning. At Temple Bethel, we embrace that call. We strive to repair the world, to respect and cherish those around us, and to do what's right, even and especially when it's hard. We teach our children, we comfort each other, and we show up for one another not out of obligation, but out of love and out of sacred responsibility. We take pride in who we are and in the wisdom that shapes us, and the community that holds us. And this is what we mean by proud Jewish living. And when we embrace Jewish practice on a personal level, finding the rituals, the teachings, and traditions that speak to us, we discover anchors in the midst of chaos. These moments become signposts, guiding us through uncertainty, grounding us in our values, and offering purpose amidst the pressures of daily life. Whether it's a pause for gratitude, showing up for others, or finding comfort in sacred words, our tradition meets us where we are. And this is what we mean by meaningful Jewish living. When I look back on the past year, I see how our congregation has embodied its mission, and I'm proud to stand before you to share some of the highlights. Our achievements have been significant, tied closely to the 5 pillars of our strategic plan, which guides our path forward. We begin with our first pillar, infusing all that we do with intentional relationship building and Jewish community. This year, we welcomed Cantor Rodnitsky, whose intentional and enthusiastic approach resonated throughout our community. Cantor Rodnitsky's welcome was inspiring. She jumped in with 2 feet, finding ways to embrace our traditions while also introducing us to new approaches, prayer settings, and ideas that both challenged and inspired us. At the same time, across our congregation, we showed how welcoming we are, joining small and large gatherings with her and offering the type of hospitality that has always been at the heart of Temple Beth El. Meanwhile, congregants have connected in unprecedented ways through our vibrant communities. Brotherhood, Spice, Miriam's Well, TBE Jam, Liberty, as well as Tribes, just to name some of them, are all going strong. From Brotherhood's Passover Seder to the First Thursday dinner, this group brings men together with meaningful conversations and camaraderie. One of my favorite things is that usually Howard or Fred are standing at the front door of the restaurant shaking everyone's hands as they walk in. That's what we're talking about. They've reached out across the community, creating programming with the men of Temple Israel, inviting informative speakers on timely topics, and stepping up to serve the temple time and again. Spice provided continual inspiration and community through innovative programming. This year we held an Elder Shabbat to honor older members of our community. From Zumba with Rachel Glazer to discussions to running a food drive for JFS, our seniors have made friends and made a difference. Miriam's Well completed an incredible first year, embracing an approach defined by relationship building, crossing all segments of our congregation. Highlighted by the compassionate Miriam's Wellness Initiative, which offers chicken soup deliveries to any congregant in need. Seriously, like if you need soup, they will be there. Our young adults in TBE Jam are thriving and making their presence known across Charlotte, engaging in learning and deep conversations on a monthly basis. While our teens in Liberty are creating memories rooted in friendship and meaningful Jewish experiences. One aspect I want to highlight is how each of our cohorts has embraced connections that made a difference. Brotherhood raised thousands of dollars for Holocaust education, the NC Holocaust Foundation. Spice has led our congregation's partnership with Sterling Elementary and also the JFS food drive I mentioned. Miriam's Well came together to learn about and raise funds for several organizations across domestic violence, environmental causes, and supporting the LGBTQ+ community. And our team stepped up to lead the way in helping our friends in Western North Carolina. Under our second pillar, investing deeply in the care, retention, and development of our clergy staff and lay leadership, our efforts have been considerable. First, we're building the structures and processes to connect more leaders with more ways to contribute. Everyone in the congregation is a co-owner of this place and responsible for its success. I want to take a moment now to express gratitude to our extraordinary clergy team, Rabbi Knight, Rabbi Nichols, Rabbi Erdheim, and Cantor Rodnitsky, and our dedicated professional staff, Nicole Sidman, Natalie Friedlander, Amy Fine, Madeline White, Dee Kreidel, Renata Rosenberg, Robin Dahl, Rachel Glazer, Kim Kaplan, and Mark Risco. And to our passionate board of directors, led this year by board president Alan Kronovit. Alan, I could not have asked for a better partner or mentor for my first 3 years here at Temple Beth El. And to all of our lay leaders who contribute across the congregation, none of this is possible without the combination of our tireless efforts. We are each the cornerstones of our shared success. As Alan mentioned, on the staff side, we've secured stability within our clergy team, extending contracts to keep our incredible spiritual leaders with us for years to come. We've worked to update compensation practices. We've launched new staff appreciation and development initiatives. And our congregation now thrives because of this exceptional team. We're committed to supporting their continued growth and success and being a great place to do great work. On the lay leadership side, one of my favorite things was that we started the year with a 2-day board retreat. We included a session that connected our current board with the valuable wisdom and insights of our esteemed past presidents, whose continued commitment inspires us. We've also kicked off a President's Advisory Council this year, which will provide an ongoing way to connect cohorts, stakeholders, and other valuable voices directly to the board. Our third pillar, cultivating reflection, imagination, and innovation, was vividly expressed through transformative programs. We are striving to deliver timely, relevant, and imaginative offerings. Our clergy's innovative high holy days, and Passover observances recognize that we must connect with our congregation in ways that resonate. We invest heavily in having services that are welcoming to families with young children, elementary school-age children, teens, and adults, respectively. As an example, at Passover, our families with young children got to reenact the parting of the Red Sea. It's also the only time of year when you'll find me in costume. I was Moses. It was quite a sight to behold. Perhaps the most powerful moment for me was our Simchat Torah celebration. We had our recent B'nai Mitzvah read from the Torah, and then we had a full bar mitzvah-style dance party with the Torahs. And for me, as I stood there that evening watching our children and families dance with joy on the Jewish anniversary of the October 7th atrocities, it proves so much that we have so much to hope for and so many blessings. Finally, I want to recognize the hard work of Rabbi Nichols, Rachel Glazer, and our education team for their continued innovation and imagination. They're working to author original curricula that introduce more experiential learning for our kids. And Rabbi Nichols also launched a new Gesher program this year, which helps new Jews develop their traditions and live Jewishly across the year. And looking forward, I'm thrilled to announce that we will host Alana Arian, who has been called the next generation's Debbie Friedman, as our artist in residence in December of this year. If you love Jewish music, or if you've never listened to contemporary Jewish music, I cannot recommend saving the date enough. Seriously, put it on your calendars tonight. It's going to be an incredible weekend, and we are so excited to have it. Under our fourth pillar, embracing and enhancing our leadership role in serving Charlotte's evolving Jewish community on and beyond Shalom Park, we're actively embracing this role. We continued our deep interfaith involvement with MECMIN, Charlotte Pride, the Charlotte Black Jewish Alliance, to name a few. We proudly supported advocacy and justice through civic engagement and lobbying efforts. We became a congregational supporter of the Red Tent Fund and collaborated with the Jewish Federation's Outshine Hate Initiative. Our community responded to Hurricane Helene with exceptional generosity, raising over $125,000 and embodying our values through action. I'm especially proud, in the wake of the hurricane, of the way we supported our friends at Congregation Beth Tefillah in Asheville. We provided back office support, arranged for temporary satellite internet to get their operations back online before their service was restored, and even coordinated a water delivery in partnership with Myers Park Presbyterian. In addition to working with our friends across Shalom Park and the Charlotte Jewish community, we're also forging deeper relationship with other congregations across the region. We thrive when the broader ecosystem of Charlotte thrives. Our fifth and final pillar, increasing our financial strength and sustainability, marked significant strides forward. You might ask yourself why I chose this photo for our financial report. Frankly, it reflects the excitement that I feel about where the temple is today, and candidly, my zeal for discussing the temple's finances. It also represents the promise that we are striving to meet tomorrow. Our financial results from this year remain strong. We surpassed key fundraising milestones, welcomed 100 new families, exceeded our My Temple commitment goal, and secured generous grants from the Leon Levine Foundation, the Jewish Federation of Greater Charlotte, the Leora Stein Foundation, and most recently, the Foundation for the Charlotte Jewish Community. We were pleased to host a thoughtful conversation at our congregational budget workshop last week to do a real deep dive into the budget. But I welcome the opportunity to talk financials with anyone who's interested, and candidly, anyone who will listen. I'm grateful for the partnership of our engaged leaders, both on our incredible finance committee and our other advisors who are helping us steward our congregation's resources. While operations have been strong and our board has approved a balanced budget that continues to invest in our strategic plan, our growing congregation requires more funding to go forward to allow us to deliver on the mission at the level of our true potential. From all you've heard tonight, there's so much more to do. There's so many more people to reach. We have rising costs, and as you've heard me say each year, one of my concerns is around meeting the needs to preserve and maintain our building. This and the need to support our important work in the future are motivating us to take action and do it now. With the support of one of Charlotte's leading development consultants, Lauren Batten, we are building a robust infrastructure for our congregation's future financial health. We've worked hard on plans so far, but we will need your support. I invite your giving, and I will invite your giving, and I also invite anyone who would like to help to please contact me to get involved. To this end, this is the annual moment where I ask you all to dig deep and remember your annual My Temple commitment, and to please consider attending, supporting, or sponsoring our 2025 L'Chaim Temple Bethel Fall Fundraiser on November 8th. It will be an incredible evening at the Carolina Theater as we honor Marcy and Fred Dumas, two of our most impactful lay leaders, welcome an incredible Broadway star, Morgan James, to entertain us, and celebrate with this incredible community. I also want to mention our Legacy Society here and Charlotte's Create Your Jewish Legacy program, which is going strong. If you've made a commitment to leave a legacy gift to our community, I thank you. And if you haven't, I invite you to consider the opportunity to leave a gift to Temple Bethel or other Jewish organizations you care about. Please reach out to me, and I'll be happy to tell you how easy and accessible legacy giving can be for everyone. We have a lot of work to do to continue our development, to grow our mission, and to continue to deliver the kind of impact that we've made in the past year. But we've made tremendous progress, and we should all be proud having done it together. So that was a lot to cover, and I really appreciate your attention. Temple Bethel remains a beacon of hope, courage, and unity, now more important than ever. Our synagogue thrives only through your active participation and generosity. Each of us has a critical role in shaping our community's future. And I thank you for making Temple Bethel the extraordinary community it is. I look forward to another year of connection, pride, and meaningful Jewish living with each of you. Thank you.
All right, I'll try that joke again. Ken Shore and I were talking before the meeting, and he were talking about that this was a rigged election, and I said, thank God. All right. So the board's nominating committee has consisted of Ben Benson, John Jay, myself, Harrison Lord, A.J. Seacrest, and Bob Wolf. It really was rigged. So thank you for all the work that you did serving this congregation and bringing forth the nominations. Next slide. So the slate of officers, the officers serve one-year terms. For President, A.J. Seacrest. First Vice President, David Crane. First Vice President of Education, Robin Levitt. Vice President of Planning, Eliza Carney. Vice President of Social Justice, Jen Clark. Vice President of Development, Brittany Yoho. Our Treasurer, Steve Friedman. And our Secretary, Jill Blumenthal. Because this came from the nominating committee as a recommendation, no second is required. So all those in favor of the slate as presented, please signify by raising your hand. All opposed? Congratulations, the slate passed. Next, the board, next slide, please. The nominating committee recommends the following individuals for terms on the board of directors. For a 2-year term, Holly Levinson, Matt Minshew, and Alyssa Willen. And for a 3-year term, Mindy Heck Cole, Ivy Berman, and Eric Brickman. Again, since this came from the committee, no second is required. All in favor of the slate of board members, raise your hand. All opposed? Congratulations to these individuals for joining the board. I think that might be it for me. Is there anything else? Oh, there's one more slide. Sorry. All right. So now I invite Jen Clark up to something. You can see I really gave up my presence to Jen Clark. Sorry. Yeah, the slide went away. Could you bring that slide back, please? No action required, just to remind folks that Ginger Brock, Jesse Oppenheim, Beth Rychek, and Ken Shore will serve 1 year remaining term in there on the board, and I will serve as past president.
Hello, I'm Jen Clark, and as of 5 seconds ago, I am the VP of Social Justice on the board. But for the last 2 years, I have had the honor of serving as secretary of the board, which means it has been my job to capture the brilliant ideas and insights of our board members, including those who are transitioning off this year. To each of these incredible lay leaders who gave their time and expertise to Temple Beth El, we are sharing a token of our congregation's appreciation. And I believe Jonathan is my Vanna White. Okay. Okay, yes. So first, hello, Vanna Friedman. First, Liz Naiman, who has served as our VP of Education and brought a commitment to learning across the life cycle from our youngest learners on up. Thank you so much, Liz. Second to Derek Ragavan, who may not know this, but his insights inspired me to attend my very first Charlotte Symphony concert, and I had a blast. So thank you, Derek, for helping us think about leadership and organizational development in a very thoughtful way. Andy Siegel, a totally rad dude, who always brought the costumes, the puns, the 80s references, and the joy of connection to every meeting. I know I'll miss his energy on a regular basis. Thank you. Joy Miller. I'm just relieved that this is not goodbye for me, that I will get to see Joy regularly at Miriam's Well leadership meetings and events. And I'm trying not to get emotional, but I love this woman so much. During your time on the board, Miriam's Well started as a pilot engagement project that has grown and flourished under your patient, nurturing leadership and vision. You know that I continue to marvel at how every meeting of yours covers everything on the agenda and never goes over 1 minute overtime. You make it look effortless, but I know it is anything but. You are always prepared and engaged and committed to being inclusive in your leadership. It has been truly one of the honors of my time at Temple Beth El to work with you, and I'm so thrilled that I get to do it still. Sorry, such a mess. Okay. And then Ben Benson, whom I've never known a Temple Beth El board without him on it. And it's a little disorienting to even imagine it. As the longest serving past president, I'm sure Ben has been imagining this moment for longer than most people. And I know the staff, clergy, and other leaders are deeply grateful to Ben's steady, thoughtful leadership, his questions and his analysis that pushed us to be better. Thank you, Ben, for all you have given to Temple Beth El. On behalf of the board, clergy, staff, you'll have a moment to applause for him, I promise. On the behalf of the board, clergy, and staff, we have special tokens of appreciation for both Ben and Alan as you both enter a new era. These works of art were specially commissioned and created for each of you. For Ben, a piece of art from Charlotte artist Mike Worth named Architecture of Possibility, and you can see that here on the screen here. Ben often drew on his skills as an architect during his leadership, from the way he analyzed problems to his invaluable advice on the physical infrastructure of our community. Our rabbis teach us that God used the Torah as a blueprint for creation. In this piece, the Torah and the ark that holds the Torah becomes the blueprint, once again, not for a world, but for a community. And through his faithful, visionary leadership, Ben Benson has been one of its architects. This work honors Ben not only for what he has helped build, but for the sacred possibility he continues to inspire. Thank you, Ben. And for Alan, whose leadership tenure has been defined by thoughtfulness and a deep love of Torah study and Jewish learning, we have two meaningful texts studied by Alan and Rabbi Knight that have been inscribed by a Torah scribe on Torah parchment. They reflect the values that have shaped Alan's leadership and this community. And you can see them listed up here on the screen. That Jewish leadership is sacred and begins by being deeply rooted and present. He's here, he's there, he's every effing where. And that learning never stops. Alan, we are so grateful. You have guided us with strength, with soul, and with love. Thank you so much. Now I have the great privilege of handing the mic over to AJ Seacrest, our new president. I can't wait to serve under her leadership and to see how her commitment, enthusiasm, some would say obsession over governance, continues Ben's and Alan's work to ensure Temple Beth-El is a thriving, safe space for Charlotte's Jewish community now and for generations to come. And I just have to say, looking at everyone, Ben, Alan, now AJ, soon David, we are so lucky. I can't wait.
Okay, closing remarks, guys. When I turn around, we're going to be smiling and very energetic, right? Very energetic. Very energetic, right? All right. Give me a moment. I need to set up as well. Good evening, everyone. So, as many of you know, I am a risk manager at a bank, which means my job is to say no with nuance. I say things like, no, we cannot do that without 3 layers of safeguards, or no, we need more documentation before we move forward. I've built a career out of anticipating what could go wrong and planning to avoid it. Honestly, I was born this way. My dad was an entrepreneur. I have his picture up here, my lovey daddy. He was my person. He was an entrepreneur, and he saw opportunity everywhere. He made me nervous. He'd say, you know what would be a good business idea? And I'd immediately respond, but what if it breaks? What if no one comes? What if it costs too much? But that's my nature, to see the pitfalls before I let myself dream of the payoff. So when the temple crafted its new vision and landed on the phrase, daring hope, I'll admit it hit me like kryptonite. Daring is not a word I usually associate with myself. I love looking up things in the Oxford English Dictionary. And the Oxford English Dictionary defines daring as adventurous or audaciously bold. And that has never felt like me. But then I think about Georgetown. When I was a teenager, I dreamed of becoming a Hoya. Georgetown School of Foreign Service was the goal. I wanted to be a diplomat. And I know those of you who are younger in the room don't know this, but when I received the thin envelope, I was crushed. And I shelved that dream, and I took the safer path. I went to law school, and I chose a steady career. But last year, when life was anything but calm, my mom's Parkinson's had worsened, my daughter was 15, and I was leading a demanding project at the bank. I said yes to something bold, a master's program at Georgetown in International Business and Policy, a joint program with the School of Foreign Service. It was hard, but it was extraordinary. I studied in DC, in Frankfurt, in Vietnam. I learned alongside people from across the world, leaders from nonprofit, corporate, and public sectors who challenged and inspired me. And last month, I graduated. Not because the timing was perfect or safe, but because I let hope guide the way. I think about Alan too. I had the gift of watching Alan serve as our president. He has led us through major milestones, like crafting a new strategic plan and supercharging our development efforts. But more than that, he has shown that daring hope lives in the everyday, in the way he shows up fully for Temple life, in the trust he places in relationships, in his belief that simply being present with consistency, with kindness, with curiosity, can cultivate something meaningful. Rabbi Noah Knight echoed this beautifully in a High Holidays message these past High Holidays. He reminded us that daring to hope doesn't mean having all the answers. It means choosing to show up anyway, to listen, to build, to hold space for one another, even when the path forward isn't clear. And so I've come to understand that hope isn't the opposite of realism. In fact, they are companions. Hope dares us to dream of what could be. Realism helps us to build it step by step. Hope asks us to say yes. Realism ensures we show up with integrity, consistency, and care. We need both in leadership, in community, in life. And here's what that can look like. It can be coming to Shabbat services on Friday night, even if you're exhausted, and I'm exhausted. Even if your soul feels flat from the trials of the week, because you know that the melodies, that the calm, that the sense of belonging will slowly begin to fill you back up. It's choosing to show up proudly Jewish, even when the world feels uncertain. Wearing a Star of David necklace or a kippah, not in defiance, but in faith, as an act of our identity, as an expression of our pride, as a quiet reminder that we belong everywhere we go. It's finding out that someone in our community has lost a parent and saying yes to attending their Shiva Minyan, even when it's inconvenient, even when it's across town, because showing up in grief is one of the holiest ways we practice hope. It's joining a tribe, even if you're an introvert, who dreads small talk, and discovering that you're not alone, that someone needed your presence just as much as you needed theirs. Like our hiking tribe, where people connect by sitting in a circle, not by sitting in a circle, but by walking in step, breathing in nature, and simply being together. This is the kind of spirit our community needs from us, not perfect, not polished, but present, rooted in faith, knowing that if we keep showing up with intention, something good will grow. So, let us be the ones who act even when it's hard. Let us be the ones who lead, not just from the head, but from the heart. Let us be the ones who dare to show up. Let us be the ones who dare to build. Let us be the ones that dare to hope. As I step into this role, I will strive to lead in that same spirit, and I invite each of you to do the same. Together, like Alan has modeled so beautifully, we can keep showing up, we can keep building, and we can keep daring to hope. Thank you. Thanks. That's really sweet. Thank you. We will conclude with a closing song from Cantor Rodnitsky, after which, please, we invite you to join us in the David Silverman Social Hall for our reception. Thank you.
Rabbi Knight shared a prayer earlier that we hope that our steps will be strengthened. And amen, amen to everything that has been shared this evening. May our community draw strength from one another, and may we move forward together as one. Tov, everyone. Join us in the social hall for dessert.